Here I am again, Stephen Williams here. This is your weekly commitment, going from behind the veil tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about stuff that's going on behind the veil. This channel is here to encourage you in the area. I'm fighting to be fit. I'm going to be focused. I want to be in my faith, my fitness, my inspiration, all of that. And so these are my 4 areas: in our finances, in our faith, in our fitness, and in our focus. We got to make sure we're sharp in our focus. We got to make sure we're fit in our minds, are fit in our bodies. We got to make sure our faith is intact, and we got to make sure our finances is on point. Now, again, this week we're going to talk. Last week, I hope you enjoyed last week. For everybody who are here, who's here, for those of you who are here, thank you so much for coming back. Please share this with your friends and subscribe down below, because some good information is coming up. Some really good information concerning interviews. It's really going to be good. Some people are excited about joining it and talking behind the veil. And we're going to deal with it, and we're going to hopefully encourage you and empower you so that you can become completely better in every area of, or at least those 4 areas: in your fitness, your focus, your faith, and your finances. How many of you need some help in all 4 of those areas? Go ahead, lift your hands. I see you. I really don't, but I see you. Go ahead. So here we are. So this week, thank you again for joining. Subscribe. And so this week, as I'm out here, and I've been dealing with this all day, really all week. And I want to ask you a serious question. I really want to ask you exactly what are you transferring in your next step, in your faith? Exactly what are you transferring? Now, that's going to be an interesting question. Stay with me. I found out that some people talk about whatever it is that they're going to do. They talk about their next. They talk about their future. They get into the things that they want to talk about. And then all of a sudden, they get stopped. They stop doing something. And it's because they stop with their faith. There's a lot of birds and stuff going on out here. But they stop in their faith. This week, I want to challenge you about your faith. Exactly what is it? Exactly what's happening with your faith. All right. And so what are you transferring was the question. And what happened to me, here's some stuff that's behind the veil. What I had to realize is that my faith was being measured in my right now. And so what is faith? Faith is that action that you're doing something different, totally different. You're moving forward. You are doing it in the dark, if you will. You're really functioning in faith. Well, here was the thing. Here was the problem that I was having. I was transferring from my old world. I was trying to transfer in my faith baggage from yesterday. Stay with me. So I was making moves about my future, thinking about my past. I was making moves about my future, trying to say I'm going to do this, do that, but it stemmed from failures from my past. And so I really wasn't moving my faith into the next realm. I wasn't properly transferring to my future. I was actually bringing baggage from my yesterday, and I was sabotaging my own future. So it was interrupting my faith, my belief, the trust that God has placed inside of me. That thing that God has really given unto all of us, the ability to get wealth. And what I had to do was close the portal of yesterday. Because if you're not careful, if you failed yesterday, you will bring that same concept into your right now. And when you get ready to walk in faith to do something miraculous, you'll think about how you failed in your past. I hope this is for somebody. And so what I'm saying to you is you've got to close that door and don't transfer that. Sometimes fathers do this, and sometimes mothers do this. Whatever happened to them as a child, whatever happened to them in their life, they transfer that same kind of energy. So I was talking to somebody, and we were talking about children, and I grew up in an era where the parents would say, "Well, I had to get it, so you got to get it. You got to get it just like I got it. You're going to have to hustle, and I'm not going to help you." Really? And I think that's a part of the thing that made me tough, but it's also the part that put me behind the 8 ball, because you're going through your experiences for a reason, to help the next generation. You're going through that thing to help who's next. What good is it for you to have done what you've done and you're not going to help the next generation, or you're going to not help your children? For instance, if you didn't know about credit scores, and we're going to talk about that in the coming weeks. If you don't know, if your parents didn't know about credit scores, and then they didn't transfer that information to you, you didn't understand the whole concept of it. Where what happens is, if you don't transfer that information to your child, then it's a cycle. So it's a constant cycle. And so you're not transferring the right thing. Well, the same principle applies to your faith. If you failed back then, and you know you need to do something different coming forward and going into the future, what happened is you'll self-sabotage and don't even realize. You and I have been given a great opportunity. You and I have life. We've been given an opportunity in this world. We've been given gifts. Every person who's listening to this, you have a gift. You've been blessed with whatever gift that is. And nobody can do your gift. Nobody can do it like you can do it. The only reason why you haven't is because there's a fear factor inside of you. And you're transferring old things into what should be new faith. We call it putting old wine in a new wine bottle, or new wine in an old wine bottle. And you have to be able to determine, you have to be able to shut the door down on impossibility and open up your mind to possibility. The only way you're going to get something great, the only way you're going to do something new, the only way you're going to go places that you've never gone before, all of that is going to be a walk of faith. If it's not faith, faith is the substance of things hoped for. Then are you hoping? It is the substance of things hoped for. Faith is the substance of what you hoped for. If you are no longer hoping, if you're no longer thinking it's going to come to pass, then you have effectively allowed your yesterday to come into your present time, which is hindering your tomorrow. Because you can't get your tomorrow without faith. You cannot reach the pinnacle without faith. Now, that was point one. Point number two is, if you're not careful, you'll get settled in with where you are and what you have. And you won't even take the plunge to think about anything else. I've had to explore that even in my own life. I'm comfortable with where I am. I mean, you can get comfortable with your cars and your house, and you're thinking about that. And I decided, you know what? I think it's time for me to expand my thinking and give God an opportunity to give me what he's been desiring from me, desirous of me having, whether that's job, money, faith, love, whatever it is. I'm open. You have to open yourself up for the possibility. If you continue to keep yourself closed and you come up with every imaginable excuse, and then you're going to hope that you get something great, you're going to use faith to get something great, but you're going to use yesterday's principles, you know that's not going to work, right? You can't use yesterday's principles and then expect to do something miraculous in your future. You can't use old methods. And we're dealing with people right now who are so stuck in the old way of doing things in their mind that they can't even see and function in faith. And if you are a believer, and some people may be believers, some of you may be church people, some of you may not be, but for believers, without faith, it's impossible to please God. So let's take that scripture and let's dig. Without faith, it's impossible to please him. Why? Because he's calling you to be something more than what you are. And without that faith level to think that you can have it, look, if he put it inside of you, it's possible. If it came to your mind, it's obtainable. And I know you've heard that, but the reality is without faith, it is impossible to please him. Pleasing him is the mechanism by which what? He put the gift in you, he put the dream in you, which means there is an expectation from him that you should be doing this, that you should be living this, that you should be happy, that you should be in love, that you should have your money, that you should have your dreams, that you should be doing whatever it is. And for the things that you're not gifted in, guess what? He's giving you the power to find somebody else to connect to you so that you can do something great. All right? And so without that faith, you really can't please him because he has dreams for you. He has thoughts about you. He has things that he wants you to see. He has places that he wants you to go. He has cars he wants you to drive. He has houses he wants you to live in. But if you snuff out the faith based on yesterday's process, then you're never going to get it. Now, I want you all to examine this. For those of you who are Bible readers, you remember when Jesus was on the water and he was in the boat, and he had the disciples had just fed the 5,000. And they get into the boat, and I heard this from a good friend of mine, and I thought it fit exactly what we were talking about tonight. And they got in the boat. Remember, Jesus stayed on the thing, and they got in the boat, and then there was a storm that came out in the boat. I said I was going to take time, and I'm going to dig into this text, and I'm going to teach it properly. But they're on the boat, and this is when Jesus walks on the water. This is not when he's in the boat. This is when he walks on the water to them. But they're struggling to battle the storm. All right? Stay with me. And the question is, why are they struggling to battle the storm? They are fishermen. They should at least know how to handle storms. This is not their first rodeo on storms. This is not their first time being in with wavy situations. What's really happening that they are having to panic in such a way that they think they're going to perish. This is a realm of thought that I just want to put it out there, and I'll dig some more to it, but I want to throw this out about your faith. Could it be that they were trying to protect the fabric, the fragments that were full, and they were trying to make sure they held on to what they had instead of knowing how to go back to do what they were doing with the boat? They wanted to try to fight the storm and keep their substance. Stay with me. So what does that have to do with faith? Sometimes you can be in such a comfort zone that you are afraid that you think you're going to lose what you got when there is something greater for you. And this message is not just for you. This message is also for me. There's sometimes you have to let go of what you got because something greater, God has something greater in store for you. God does not want you to live this whole life. He does not want you to come into this world and not be happy. He doesn't want you to come into this world and not be fulfilled. He wants you to have life, and that more abundantly. He really does. I really believe that. And whether you believe in God or not, or Jesus or God or whatever it is, there is something better for your life. But you can't get stuck bringing yesterday's faith into your present situation, because you're always going to sabotage it. You're always going to think of what's not going to work because it didn't work then. What about what he wants to work now? Lose that fear Lose that fear, break it off, lose that fear, break that thing off of you so that you can walk in this faith and obtain. He wants you to put your hand on it. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, and it is the evidence of things not seen. It is time for us to walk in evidence. This video is evidence. I had to get over the faith, and with the way social media is, and with the way people are being just trolled, and just, one wrong word. It's amazing people are not building up people. Instead, they just crushing them. On every turn, they're crushing them. And it creates a fear that you're going to get the same thing. But I can't bring yesterday's fear into this. I don't know what the future holds. But what I do know is I can't live yesterday. I can't live yesterday and complain about my today and still be talking about yesterday. You know that's kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puff, right? Sorry about that. I didn't call you cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I just said that's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You have to be able to move forward. And this is the season. I know it is tumultuous. I know with the government, with the Me Too movement, with all the stuff, the killings, everything that's happening, I know it seems like this is not the time for you to be trying to do anything great. And I beg to differ. This is the right time for you to think big. If you need a vacation, think big on your vacation. Set yourself up. Put your money, by faith, put your money back. By faith, put your money back. By faith, go look at it. By faith, at least go look at the house. By faith, go look at the car that you want. By faith, trust what the faith is saying, because he gave you that to move you to what is pleasing to him. He does not want you to get stuck where you are, because that was never his final product. That was never his finished product. Without faith, it becomes impossible to please him. You got it? So he has a vision plan for you. It's a word for you that can't come back to him void. It disappoints him that you are not measuring up to what he spoke over your life. And then on top of that, he gave you the gifts to make sure you got to that place. So what's the obstacle? You say, I don't have enough money. You say, I don't have enough friends. No, there are people, I promise you, when people walk out your life, people walk in your life. I've lost some friends, and I promise you, I've gained some as well. I've been a good friend, I've been a bad one. And I know they've done the same thing. It's not all about me. It happens. But I promise you, it was never meant for me to be sitting here thinking, waddling in my right now, living a limited life. Your life should be limitless. And it is impossible to please him without it. Don't get so comfortable where you are that you stop functioning in faith. Let me tell you why. Because the moment you stop functioning in faith, you got to have a little trouble to bring the faith right back. And I found out that the more you just get settled in where you are, then that means a little trouble comes along to push you back into your moment of faith, to believe again. And you say, but if I move forward, that may cause trouble. Well, what that does is moving forward gives God an opportunity to open up the door. The door only gets open as you move forward, right? So Abraham only gets to get to the ram as he's walking up the hill. If he doesn't walk up the hill, the ram doesn't get caught in the thicket. I believe this simultaneous. I believe every door that you need to go into is based on your movement. It's based on whether or not you're going to take the leap of faith. And it's really not a leap, because you have the gift. God will never give you the gift inside of you to do a thing. Like for instance, I'm probably never going to be a good chef. That is not going to be my calling. As you can tell, I am fighting to be fit, but there's something that happened to me that caused me to fight to be fit, and that's because I enjoy eating. Now, hear me out. He did not give me the gift to be a chef. So guess what? I ain't opening up the restaurant. That's not in my gift. That's not even my frustration. That's not even a part of it. Now, I one day would love to make enough money to give that opportunity to somebody who is a chef. I don't have no problem with that. As long as I get to eat free every night that I want to come. But that's that whole notion. That's that whole piece. So the gift that he gave me is the gift that I need to function in, because it's the doors are opening for me based on that. And I've got to not transfer my father's fear, my mother's fear, my grandmother's fear, my last year's fear, my last pastor's fear, my last job fear. I can't bring that into right now. I cannot. And I'm so honest and open about where I am in my actions, my mind, my love. I'm so free at this point. But that's because my faith is in action. My faith really is in action. And I'm trying my best to take my gifts and walk in what he called me to walk into. And you're going to have to do that as well. All right? And so this is a little bit of thing for behind the veil. You've got to get out from. This is what happens to people. They're the most gifted people, but they're scariest. Stop being scary. Let's get out from behind this veil and let's walk in faith. This is our word for this week. Think the way God wants you to think within the confinement of your giftedness. You can only think big within the ability that he's given you. You can only think as big as within the ability that he's given you. And I know he wants you to accomplish it. Why? Because he put the gift inside of you to actually do it. Stop looking at people. Stop looking around. Stop transferring stuff from your past and thinking about what's not going to work. Let's move in faith. And all you got to do is take one step at a time. Just one little step. One little step and you'll see something open. One little thing and you'll see that something's open. You know, the more I say I'm going to sing, another door opens. The more I say I'm going to love, the door opens. And the more I let love out, love comes in. I'm talking about getting finances. Hey, it's opening. I'm opening up my brain. I'm opening up my mind and my spirit, contingent upon my ability, not upon anybody else's. I have to do this within the confinement of my ability, because it is only in that place that I can please him, because he's given me a vision for me to do it within him. So don't look at your obstacles. Look at the possibilities. This is the season for it. This is the time for it. We're going to do it. It's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. Look, till next week. Thank you so much. Subscribe. Tell everybody. Come on, we're going to get on this faith walk so we can do some powerful things. Much love, much peace. Fight. We're going to fight to be fit in our focus, our finances, our faith, and our fitness. Fitness, focus, faith, and finances. Those are our areas. Until next week, I'll check you out as we continue with this movement behind the veil.